right field. Reddick in right, hitting third. Ben Zobrist is the cleanup hitter, and Zobrist will play second base. Billy Butler out of the lineup today. Stephen Vogt is the DH. Vogt will hit fifth. Brett Lawrie hits sixth. He will be at third base. Mark Canha is the first baseman, hitting seventh. Josh Phegley will catch and hit eighth. Phegley catching, hitting eighth. And Sam Fuld, big night last night for Fuld. He will bat ninth and play left field. And that is your starting lineup for the Oakland A's. Scott Kazmir has finished the warm-up tosses. Delino DeShields steps in the box. And here is Vince Cotroneo.
It is an absolutely gorgeous day in the East Bay. And Scott Kazmir hoping for his first win since April 13th. The left-hander out of Houston gets the sign from his catcher, and the first pitch to Josh Phegley is outside, ball one. DeShields batting .269 with 11 RBIs. The A's in the home whites today, and the Rangers in the road grays. The lefty's 1-0 pitch. Changeup hit high in the air to left. Back a few steps is Fuld. He has plenty of room before the track. He'll make a two-handed catch, and DeShields is retired to start this afternoon's game.
And your description of the weather last night, Max Muncy said, I got every bit of the ball hit to right field. It was caught by Chu at the wall. And today it's totally different. And we're going to see probably a difference today at fly balls and just try to keep them in the park, but the ball is going to carry much better.
Now Shin-Soo Choo. Chu, a left-hand batter, a .246 average against the league, 8 homers and 29 driven in. And Kazmir to the plate, and he starts him off missing high, ball one. Mark Canha at first base for the A's. Ben Zobrist is at second. Marcus Semien the shortstop, and Brett Lawrie's at third. Fastball lifted towards center. Back a few steps is Burns, still drifting with it. Now he'll settle in front of the track. He'll make the catch there. A couple of fly balls. And 2 outs for the Rangers, and that'll bring the league's leading hitter to the plate. He's the DH today, Prince Fielder. Sam Fuld is in left, Billy Burns in center, Josh Reddick is in right for the Athletics. Kazmir 2-4 with a 3.14 ERA. His first start of the year was a 10 strikeout performance against the Rangers on April 8th. Won that game going away 10-0. His first pitch to Fielder on the outside corner, struck a little breaking ball. Fielder 1 hit of the series. He's batting .349, 10 homers, 42 driven in. A's overshift on him. Puts Zobrist in shallow right, swings Semien over on the other side of second base. And the 0-1 swing and a miss, came back soft on Fielder, and he's behind 0-2. Bill Miller, our buddy from Santa Cruz, with the balls and strikes today. Doug Eddings at first, Jim Wolf, the umpire, at second, and Adrian Johnson at third. Fastball bloop behind third base, angling back on it is Lawrie, staying with it, still going, reaches out, makes a basket catch and slides on his knees right over the foul line. Great effort by Lawrie, covered a lot of ground, and retires Fielder. A 1-2-3, top of the first for Scott Kazmir. At the end of a half, Texas nothing, and the A's are coming up.
And the A's, and enjoy this.
first inning against Chichi, Gonzalez, Burns, Simeon, and Reddick. Against the 23-year-old, he's from South Florida, from Delray Beach. He went to Oral Roberts, a #1 pick back in 2013 of the Rangers, and he's in the big leagues, and he's been very good. First pitch off the plate outside, ball 1 on Burns. Billy batting .306, 2 homers and 8 RBIs. Gonzalez not overpowering, 6'3", 210 pounds, but excellent feel on the mound. He tries the outside corner again, misses wide, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. 14 2/3 innings, 5 hits and no runs against the Red Sox and the Royals. His first 2 big league outings, 7 walks and 4 strikeouts. His 2-0, it's down and in, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, the A's tried to get to Gallardo last night. A lot of pitches in the first inning, scored just 1 run. That turned out to be not such a great job by the Athletics because Gallardo settled down. Fortunately, pitch count got to him and they had to take him out, or did take him out.
Here's a 3-0. It is inside, ball 4, and Burns, who can run, is aboard with an opening walk against Gonzalez. He had 30 pitches in that first inning last night for Gallardo, and here comes Marcus Simeon.
The best thing that happened, similar probably for the Red Sox against Graveman on Sunday, to get him out and go to the bullpen regardless of who they faced, and it helped the A's last night.
Defensively behind Gonzalez, they've got Kyle Blanks at first, Hanser Alberto at second, Elvis Andrus the shortstop, Adam Rosales at third with Carlos Corporon behind the plate. Delano to Shields in left, Leonis Martin in center, Shin-Soo Choo in right. The pitch is a ball, the runner is going, a head-first slide, and Burns in safely with a stolen base. His 11th of the year. Great to see he didn't waste any time. He was confident, he took off, and he's in scoring position with a 1-0 count on Simeon.
Well, a lot of times, and very good from his standpoint of running, but you figure after a 4-pitch walk he might be concentrating so much on throwing a strike, the pitcher that is, that he may forget about Billy Burns. And had a high leg kick, actually a pretty good pitch to throw by Corcoran, but a huge jump by Burns enabled him to get in safely.
Actually was called a strike on Simeon. Takes a breaking ball outside. I said the same thing.
Wow.
And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And not only did I think the pitch was high, but Corcoran was coming out of his crouch and blocking the view of Bill Miller.
I agree 100% because I thought it definitely was high, and the description was perfect because he had to have blocked it.
1-1 on Marcus. 2 for 6 in the series. 6 homers, 16 driven in on the year. The right-hand batter awaits, and the right-hander Gonzalez spins, goes back to second, and Billy dives in with the right hand. Boy, you'd like to put some pressure on a rookie early. Everything has gone his way in the first 2 starts, and see how he handles some adversity.
And for Marcus Simeon, who does a good job of hitting the ball to the right side, he's trying to do that now, and at least up to 2 strikes.
1-1 the count on the A's shortstop. Gonzalez readies and delivers, and it's inside with the 1-1 pitch. Ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. Gonzalez was at AAA this year. 3-5, a 4.15 ERA. He's in the spot in the rotation that originally was held by the left-hander Ross Detweiler. His 2-1 swung on, lifted off to the right side. Simeon taking a crack at the right side of the field and sends it out of play below us to our right. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And now you take what you can get, and basically with 2 strikes, it's a great approach up until, but I mean, if you can still hit the ball to the right side, that's a great at bat. Fegley did it on the recent road trip, but it doesn't mean you have to try all the time.
Here's the 2-2. Inside corner, strike 3 called, and Simeon not happy with the call from Bill Miller. Late movement over the inside corner. Gonzalez gets the strikeout, and here comes Josh Reddick.
Speaking of not happy, neither team was very happy with Adrian Johnson last night. He was a little all over with the balls and strikes. But it wasn't just one team. He was hearing it from both dugouts.
Marcus frustrated that he couldn't get the runner advanced. And now here's Reddick, a hero last night for the A's. 2 hits, an RBI, the game winner, and a run scored. He takes low and outside, ball 1.
You know, from Simeon's standpoint, and one of the things about a runner at second, nobody out, a lot of times the catcher will call for a pitch inside, trying to force him to pull the ball to prevent the runner from advancing. So not surprised to see him go inside.
Here's the 1-0. Little breaking ball over the outer corner. 1 ball and 1 strike on Reddick, who is batting .308, 8 homers and 33 RBIs. The man who usually passes out the pies got pied last night. The A's first walk-off of 2015. The pitch, breaking ball low. 2 balls and a strike. No score, bottom of the first inning. 1 out. Burns at second base for the A's. And try to take advantage of an early opportunity against the rookie right-hander. And Zobrist waiting on deck.
I think that single that Reddick got against Freeman last night in the 8th inning, the left-hander, I think that was one of his most gratifying hits this year, after getting pinch hit for when a left-hander came on the night before.
Here comes the 2-1. It's off speed and low. A check swing. They'll appeal at third. The answer is no. 3 balls and a strike. Well, I think just in general, watching Reddick's at bats this year have changed dramatically from a couple of years ago. Just the way that he works the counts. He got the double a couple of nights ago. He was down 0-2, got it back even, and then shot one to left center field. He has certainly matured as a hitter. Now Gonzalez steps off. Can't agree with Corporon.
But that's why I'm surprised his average this year isn't better against left-handers, because I think his approach is a lot better.
3 balls and a strike on Reddick. And the right-hander deals a breaking ball foul at the plate. 3 balls and 2 strikes. There's an indication of what they like about the youngster Gonzalez. Behind in the count, runner in scoring position, and not afraid to throw a breaking ball to Reddick. Josh swung at the first pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning last night against Keone Kela. And then the celebration ensued. And he got doused, and he loved every moment of it. 3-2, bounce on the right side, past second base, backhanded, knocked down by Alberto, no play. Everybody is safe. An infield hit for Reddick as Alberto went far to his right. Burns advanced to third. The A's have runners at the corners now for Ben Zobrist.
Well, they didn't dive, but boy, you'd like to see infielders dive with the ball, the possibility going to the outfield to score a run, and he got a glove on it. I don't think he would have thrown out Reddick anyway, and maybe by keeping to his feet he had a chance, or thought he had a chance to do it, but in reality, and Billy Burns could see it all the way, and Mike Hague was going to make sure he stopped him and not rounding third too aggressively.
Now Zobrist batting the cleanup spot today. Billy Butler not starting this afternoon. Butler has appeared in all but 1 game so far this year. Zobrist, the .208 average, 2 home runs, 15 driven in, and an RBI, a single and a run scored in the 5-4 win last night, as Gonzalez turns and drives Reddick back to first with a toss in that direction. No score, bottom of the first inning. The A's are threatening with runners at first and third. Gonzalez readies and fires, and the first pitch over but low with a changeup, ball 1. Actually a sinking fastball. Trying to get a read here on Gonzalez.
And for Corcoran, if he continues to catch with the palm down, he's going to have the ball go between his legs
and take pitches out of the zone.
Well, exactly, but the sinker ball's got a chance to scoot under the glove if he continues.
Here's the 1-0, and that one in for a strike on Zobrist. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ben 2 for 9 in the series. He's played some left field and some second base. Infield hoping to turn 2 as Gonzalez works with men at the corners here. Good speed aboard for the A's with Burns and Reddick. The stretch, the 1-1. Swung on, pulled on the ground through the right side of base hit. Burns is home. It's 1-0 Oakland. Reddick up to second base as Zobrist gets his 16th RBI, and for Chichi Gonzalez, the first run he's allowed in the big leagues.
What a huge hole between first and second, and while Billy Burns stole second on the first pitch, there's no chance that Reddick was going to move. He had the hole, and last night he was almost hit, went to third aggressively. This time a high fastball that Ben Zobrist just crushed in that hole between first and second. And Benny, the late Bill Rigney always said, if you're a left-handed hitter and a runner first base, you have to hit that hole. And I'm sure somewhere he's very proud of Ben Zobrist right now.
Wearing a Panama hat, no doubt.
That's right. Probably the golf club in his hand too.
Now Stephen Vogt stands in. 1-0 Oakland, and a slider down and in on Stephen, ball 1. Stevens hit in all 20 or reached base in all 27 games at home. He's batting .293 against the league, 11 homers and a team leading 40 RBIs, and a chance to put a crooked number up for the Athletics with 2 on and 1 out. The 1-0 pitch. Off speed, up and away. 2 balls and no strikes. That's the way that especially the Red Sox try to attack Stephen Vogt at Fenway Park. A lot of off-speed pitches, especially with men on base.
Last night, though, he took a 2-1 changeup, which was great because he had said he's trying to go after the ball instead of let it come to him.
2-0. It's downstairs. Ball 3. Gonzalez digging a deeper hole here. 3 balls and no strikes. Brett Lawrie waiting on deck. 1-0 A's in the bottom of the first inning.
And the one thing Stephen Vogt has constantly talked about, he said, I've had success hitting because I did let the ball come to me instead of trying to go after it. He started to struggle a little bit and tried to change everything.
Here's a 3-0. It's not even close. Up and away. Ball 4. The A's have got him loaded as Brett Lawrie steps in. And before he does, the pitching coach, Mike Maddox, will take a purposeful stride out to the mound. Now into a slow jog. And you can bet he's going to take his right arm and put it on the shoulder of Gonzalez and begin the conversation. And right on cue, that's exactly what he does.
And his brother, who was in the dugout last night, the Hall of Famer, said, what are you doing? No, that's... Rick Peterson did it. We've always said it. And really, it's kind of a common effect. And if it works, then so be it. And he's trying to calm down his young pitcher right now. And Mike Maddox has had experience.
But he massages, too, a little bit.
I know.
Yeah,
don't ever do that to me.
Just a little bit. No, I would never do that.
No, that's. I don't need massage.
No, you don't.
No, but he does. He kind of.
A little bit, yeah. Just works the shoulder muscles a little bit.
But, you know, Gonzalez should say, hey, you're doing the wrong shoulder. I throw right-handed, so come around here and do it on this one. I need a little bit of...
Well, a chance for the A's to really do some damage here against Gonzalez. No place to put Lawrie. Bases are loaded. Vogt at first. Zobrist at second. Reddick at third. Brett has 2 career grand slams. He's batting .274 against the league. 5 homers, 24 driven in. The stretch, the righty's pitch is swung on, spanked towards short on 1 bounce. Andrus to Alberto on the blanks. 6-4-3, and just like that, the inning is over. And Gonzalez escapes without any further damage done. But Ben Zobrist drives in the A's first run, and we go to the top of the second. It's 1-0 Athletics. Sunny Gray solar-powered gnome presented by Sungevity. 15,000 fans will get that gnome. It's presented by Sungevity for the A's ace pitcher. On Saturday, June 20th, call 877-493-BALL or visit athletics.com/tickets. And yes, the gnome with the solar-powered panels inside really lights up in the dark.
Can't wait.
Scott Kazmir with a 1-0 lead starts the second, missing up and away ball 1, facing the former A, Kyle Blanks. Blanks just came off the disabled list today for Texas, batting .322, only 15 games, 3 homers, 2 of those against the A's, and 6 RBIs. He takes a high strike, and it's 1-1.
A's got him going in Texas, didn't they? Former Oakland athletic player, and he's jumped the lineup and is crushing everything.
Hit a home run against Kazmir on May 1st at the ballpark in Arlington. He swings and misses on a fastball away, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And at least early today for Kazmir, we're not seeing the velocity that we saw at Fenway Park. He was routinely 92 to 94, but today he's been 89, 90 so far. His 1-2 over through the fastball. It's outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
No, we've always talked about him becoming a pitcher, not just running back and throwing 95 to 98, but this is to the extreme today as far as the velocity.
Working quickly, back with a 2-2. There's a changeup. It's over but low. Fills the count on blanks. Adam Rosales, Elvis Andrus to follow in the inning. Blank's a big fella and signed with the Rangers in the offseason. 6'6", 265. He swings and misses on a fastball down and away. Good location. And Kazmir's set down the first 4 batters he's faced.
Well, Blanks used to be as tall as you said, but much bigger. And I'll tell you, when I saw him after losing the weight and training program, whatever, much different physique.
Guy that could play first base and some outfield. So here's Rosales talking about former A's. He does have a home run in his career against Kazmir. 7 for 20 against him. So Jeff Bannister batting him in the 5 spot today. And the right-hand hitter takes a strike on the inside corner. 1-0 Athletics in the top of the second.
Well, Rosie had everything happening last night defensively. Playing at second base, today at third.
Here's the 0-1. Changeup missing outside. Rosales 234 against the league. 3 homers and 7 driven in. Always has the pant legs pulled up. Always a ball of energy. And the 1-1 pitch. Another changeup again from Kazmir. It's outside. Scott in his last outing against Wade Miley and the Red Sox lost 4-2. A lot of base runners and taken out after 4 2/3 innings. The 2-1. A pitch outside with a fastball. 3 balls and a strike. It's apparent that Kazmir knows, at least right now, he doesn't have the normal life on his pitches. Off the third base side of the hill, and the 3-1 swung on, popped up, foul ground to first base side. Over for a look is Canna, and Mark can't quite lean into the stands and make the play that fills the count at 3 balls and 2 strikes. So what does Kazmir think about now, given that he doesn't have, at least right now, 92, 94, 95?
Well, maybe he's just thinking about the changeup. If the differential is not there, if the fastball drops down, he needs to drop down the changeup. If they're so close together, it makes it very good to hit. He's got to hit the location, the spots. He's got to do that pretty consistently, or in a case like this, maybe pull the string at a BP fastball.
Payoff pitch. Fastball is outside, and Rosales will sprint up the first baseline. The first base runner today for Texas. 1-0 A's. Let's pause 10 seconds. Station identification on the A's radio network.
Number 1, Elvis Andrus.
On this glorious Thursday afternoon, alongside Glenn Kuiper and Ray Fosse, Vince Catronia with you on this simulcast day. Elvis Andrus standing in, right-hand batter with a .233 average, 2 home runs, 20 driven in. Kazmir to the stretch for the first time, and he deals a fastball in at the knees, a called strike.
Well, if a pitcher knows his velocity maybe isn't there, I'm going to believe the catcher knows as well, Ray. Yeah. So he's got to make adjustments as well.
Exactly, and I think it's all about location. If you're not overpowering it, and even though his fastball is not at the 95, 98 he was with Tampa Bay, he still was able to get a little bit extra.
Oh, 1 pitch slashed out of play off to the right, and it is 0-2. That one into the stands to the end of the Ranger dugout. I think somebody made a nice play down there. Either that or they lost their beverage. Or both.
Or both, yeah.
Well, the ball goes into the seats, and yeah, we saw a splashdown over there. Everybody's okay, with the exception of losing their beverage. Here's the 0-2. Changeup rolled on the right side. Picked up by Zobrist. Goes to second for 1. Simeon back to first. Not in time. They force Rosales at second. Andrus aboard on the slow roller. So with 2 outs, here comes Leonys Martin.
Well, for somebody who hits the ball as well as Andrus does to the right side, I'm surprised. Of course, the big hole was there, and the fact that Zobrist had to go a little bit to his left, and able to Andrus, who has the speed to avoid being doubled up. But man, it was a huge hole for him, and he tried, but fortunately, Zobrist was able to get to it.
Now a left-on-left matchup with Leonys Martin standing in. Martin batting .251, 3 homers, 19 driven in. A's leading 1-0 in the second. A look at first by Kazmir. A long hold. And now to the plate. And he delivered, but time called by Bill Miller as Kazmir came to the plate with his delivery. So no pitch on Martin. Bill Miller in charge of this umpiring crew. Visited with him before the game today about that somewhat controversial play in the 9th inning last night involving Billy Burns with his bat making contact with Robinson Chirinos' catcher's mitt. And the ruling they made or did not make. Look at first, the offer, swing and a miss, good slider, and Martin behind 0-1.
Was Matt Weiss in the meeting and editing everything that was going on?
No, Bill was very amicable, and he knew that we had some questions.
What's that word? Did you hear that word?
I don't know.
It's a big word.
It's too many letters and
too many syllables.
Minnie's just beyond us.
And the 1-strike offer. Swung on soft liner behind second base. Reaching for it is Semien. A nice play to his left. He snares it. And Martin and the Rangers are done in the second. Semien ranging to his left makes the play, and the inning is over for Texas. No runs, no hits, no errors. A man left. On to the bottom of the second. Good defense for the A's. They lead it 1-0. Missed for strike one. Mark .240 against the league, 7 homers, all against right-handed pitching, and 23 RBIs. Playing first base today. Rosales deep at third, and the next offer is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Wanted to finish the story that Bill Miller talked about.
Yeah, please.
In the nice conversation we had together.
Amicable.
Here's the 1-1. Driven toward right center field. On the run, Martin, and he will get there to make the catch. And there is 1 out for Josh.
Tell us about the friendly Bill Miller.
What Bill Miller said was all the umpires did see the bat make contact with the glove with Chirinos in the 9th inning. Bob Melvin came out to talk with Miller, and he said that's not a reviewable play, but we all saw the contact. In their opinion, their discretion, they felt like Burns was literally throwing the bat at the ball, and that's why they said they weren't going to award first base. A swing and a liner to left, and toward the line, running it down is DeShields. and taking a double away from Josh Phegley. So it was their opinion that, and because they don't know the way Billy Burns swings or attacks the baseball. That's something we've seen on many occasions, but they just felt like, with their discretion, that he was throwing the bat at the ball when his hands were not in contact with the bat. That's why they felt like they could not award the catcher's interference. A's still won the game 5-4, and all is good today. Oakland in front 1-0. Here comes Fold, and Sam was a big part of that in the 9th inning last night, with 1 out and a 1-2 count against Kella. Single through the left side, stole second, eventually scored the winning run. Rolls toward the second baseman. Alberto loses his footing and still manages to throw to first in time to get Fold. At the end of 2, A's lead the Rangers 1-0. Through the first 2 innings, has a 1-0 lead. On to the third, and here's Glenn.
He'll face Carlos Corcoran, Hanser Alberto, and Delino to Shields. 8, 9, and 1 in the Rangers lineup. First pitch in for a strike at 87 miles an hour.
You have to act all serious. It's radio, okay? Just relax.
Thank you, Vince.
Let's have some fun.
Well, I wanted to say thanks, but I was told I'm not allowed to say that, so I
you can't. You can't.
Still learning. 0-1 to Corcoran, and a breaking ball in for a strike. Quick 0-2. Corcoran, his first action in this series. He's a switch hitter. Saw him with the Astros the last couple of years. Had some big hits against the A's last couple seasons. 0-2 pitch is bounced right side. Zobrist slides to his right. He's got it. Flips to first, 1 out.
Well, I think what's happening today, it's the old Adam balls. The A's in the bottom of the second hit a couple balls hard, but great defensive plays, and it's amazing how defense sets up and how balls are hit in the direction, and of course you have good range, you get to them.
So 1 out. Hanser Alberto, the young second baseman, steps in. Right-handed hitter. He played on Tuesday night, went 1 for 4. Overall 308 with 3 RBIs. 12 hits and 39 at bats. Takes a fastball on the outside corner for a strike. Defense plays Alberto pretty much straight away. 0-1 pitch, changeup, and a good one, and it's 0-2. Rangers have been looking for a second baseman since Kinsler left, and they have some good young talent, but nobody wants to stick.
I'm not saying this guy's that player, but he looks like Dick Allen at the plate.
He does. And he rips one foul, and he's a pretty good sized guy for a second baseman.
Well, he's got a long way to go to be Dick Allen.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just talking about his batting stance, the way he kind of leans over.
Does he use a 42-ounce bat?
No, he does not. He can't hit it a mile either.
0-2 pitch. And kind of a half swing. He rolls it foul.
Let's see, this young man does something that Dick Allen never did. Dick Allen always wore a long sleeve. He had some guns. But this young man, you know, Texas, you play in Texas, you're going to. But Dick Allen played in Chicago where it's quite humid. But he was strong.
How feared a hitter was he?
He was strong. A very nice guy, but he was as strong as there was.
0-2 pitch is grounded up the middle through the legs of Kazmir, but picked up by Semien right near the bag at second, and he quickly throws to first in time. And Kazmir thought he had a pretty good play at it, but went right between his legs, and Semien covered a lot of ground, and he ended up making a nice play behind second base.
The range for Marcus Semien continues to be there, and had a great play to end last inning. A ball up the middle, and this play was a very nice one.
Even today, with no batting practice on the field, he worked with Ron Washington on the side, along with Andy Perino, as he continues to improve on the defense.
2 outs. The leadoff man, Delino DeShields, steps in. First pitch, off speed, up and away. DeShields hit a fly ball to left field to open up the game. 2 for 9 in the series for the Rangers leadoff hitter.
Dick Allen should be in the Hall of Fame.
In for a strike, 1-1. Dick Allen, they called him Richie, and he didn't like that, right? So it was Richie Allen, but he said, no, it's Dick Allen.
Dick Allen.
Richie, call me Dick Allen.
I think he was up for the Veterans Committee this past offseason, and unfortunately didn't get enough votes.
Change up low. 2-1 to DeShields.
One time when they went out to check Gaylord Perry, they thought he was throwing some foreign substance baseball. You
never do that.
Gaylord?
And Dick Allen, I picked up his bat, almost broke my back.
Fouled straight back. Good swing by DeShields. 2-2. You thought it was the weighted bat.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, how big is this, Richie? He said 42 ounces, and he swung it like it was a toothpick.
That's amazing.
But a great gentleman, and he definitely could play.
2-2 pitch, and it's lined towards Semien. Had a little knuckleball action on it. Semien grabs it in the air. Side retired. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Scott Kazmir. We're going to the bottom of the third. A's with a 1-0 lead. One nothing A's, bottom of the third inning, as Billy Burns will lead it off against Chichi Gonzalez. First pitch, Burns slaps it down the third base line past the diving Rosales. Burns with a big turn at first, but he'll stay there as DeShields, the left fielder, was playing shallow and toward the line, so he did not have a long ways to go to get it. But Rosales playing in, he dove to the backhand side, could not get it. So first pitch swinging, Billy Burns has a base hit.
And see, someone with speed, and, you know, I said one time to Billy Burns about speed doesn't go in a slump, and he looked at me. That right there tells it all, because if a third baseman has to play in, even, or in front of the bag, that changes everything because of the speed you have. If you don't have speed, he plays back.
Yeah, and Rosales was probably 2 steps in onto the grass.
Exactly.
And if he's playing even with the bag, he probably makes the play. So Burns aboard. He walked and stole a base and scored a run in the first inning. And we'll see if he takes off again.
But by running on the first pitch in the first inning, he has already created the doubt in the mind for Gonzalez. I think that's a positive for the A's.
Big lead for Burns. Defense straight away for Marcus Semien. Gonzalez a long look, and the pitch is a little bit low.
There's your slide step because of the throws to first base, the possibility. Ricky Henderson probably caused more havoc when he didn't run than when he did.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember Eric Plunk was pitching and Ricky was at second, and Eric could not throw the ball to the plate because Ricky kept bouncing off second base.
That's right. Eric Plunk still has Ricky Henderson nightmare.
Exactly. And Ricky bounced off, and please do one thing or the other, either run or stay, and just would never do.
1-0 to Semien. Burns not running, and the pitch is low again, 2-0.
And back-to-back slide steps, and that's the altering of the delivery because of the speed of the guy at first base. But Vinny's right. I mean, you put the thought in the pitcher's mind, and also Corcoran, maybe more fastballs thrown to Semien because of Billy Burns.
Burns 10 steals, make it 11 now with his steal in the first inning. Not running, and the pitch is down and away, but Semien chased it. It was well out of the strike zone. So Semien a little bit eager there in a hitter's count, so it's 2-1. A's leading 1-0. They got the run in the first inning on Zobrist RBI hit. Another quick throw to first. Well, the slide step also forces a pitcher to lose some velocity. Pitch number 34 coming up for Chichi Gonzalez. Burns not running, and Semien loops one to shallow right field. Chu coming in, and Chu short hops it. He picks it up, fires to second, and Burns just beats the throw to second base. So it'll be a hit for Semien. Burns had to wait to make sure Chu didn't catch it, and he kind of short hopped it. So the A's have 2 on and 1 out, or 2 on and nobody out.
And when in doubt, slide. Because your momentum, and with Billy Burns going to second, I think he probably thought he had more time than he actually did, because Chu made a good play, came up with the ball, threw quickly to second, and Billy kind of caught a no man's land. But when you going standing up, your momentum at times will carry you past the bag and off the bag. Not to mention possibly getting hurt. I saw Hawk Harrelson break his ankle kind of halfway in between, decided to stand up instead of sliding, and snapped it.
He gone.
He gone. He was gone. That was spring training. He gone.
So four hits now for the A's. Here's Reddick. Reddick had a base hit in the first inning. Great speed on the bases with Burns at second, Semien at first. Gonzalez a long look towards second, and the first pitch to Reddick is a fastball outside at 92 miles an hour. Chichi Gonzalez stared in for a little bit at home plate umpire Bill Miller. Probably not a great idea when you're making your third big league start.
Bill Miller's going to be out in this hot sun for about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Bluff to second base. Burns gets back.
When Reddick and Zobrist came up after Billy Burns had stolen second in the first inning, he had a couple of left-handed hitters and opens up the third base for the catcher. So Billy did not attempt to steal third. Unfortunately, Reddick got on with a base hit, and then Zobrist got another hit.
1-0 pitch to Reddick is good fastball. Good sinking action for a strike in the outside corner. So the count even at 1-1. A's now 4 hits and the 1 run, leading 1-0 here in the bottom of the third. Chichi Gonzalez. Another long set. Now he's ready, and the pitch is a swing and a miss by Reddick. He chased the ball down and in. And now it's 1-2 with Zobrist in the on-deck circle. A little anxious there was Reddick.
And you'd like to think the A's had not seen Gonzalez before today, and the video that Adam wrote and pushed together for all the pitchers that the A's will see. But second time through the order, maybe a little bit different approach to see what he does, how he throws. Burns with the hit, as well as Semien.
And the delivery is hit high in the air, shallow left field. The Shield's coming in, looking up into the sunshine. He's got it. And that's out number 1. You can see the sun glaring against the sunglasses of the outfielders, in that case Delino DeShields, but he takes care of it. Reddick is retired, and that's out number 1.
That's something that Ty Waller, the ace outfield coach, will say to the base runners, basically, and that is always be prepared with a fly ball because of the tough sun. Sometimes very difficult to pick up the ball.
Well, there's not a cloud in the sky today after yesterday where it really rained most of the day, but it is a gorgeous day. So 1 out, and here's Zobrist to single to right to drive in a run in the first, picking up his 16th RBI. The inning started with Burns and Semien back-to-back singles. First pitch to Zobrist, changeup and a good one, and he swings and misses. Today is one of those days, and well, it's always like this, but you really wish Mount Davis wasn't there, because it would be beautiful scenery looking out over those center field bleachers that used to sit out there so nice.
See the ice plant too.
Yeah, that's right. Try to hit one in the ice plant.
Yeah, the Oakland Hills were always beautiful on a day game, and look out over the center field where you could actually see them.
0-1 to Zobrist, line drive into the glove of the first baseman Blanks, and both the runners hustle back. So a line drive, I think Blanks' 6'8" frame helped him there. He reached up and grabbed it.
Also, the fact that first and second, Blanks could play off the bag. So while Zobrist shot a ball past Blanks to drive in and run his first at bat, the difference in the defense and setup, and then hit it well, but it happened to be right at the 6'8" Blanks.
But good, better swings from Ben Zobrist. That's a good sign.
Especially after the changeup, the first pitch that he missed, and the changeup came right back and hit it hard.
So here's Stephen Vogt. Vogt walked in the first inning. And now the catcher Corcoran's going to call timeout as he steps out in front of home plate, gives some signals to his infielder.
I think the A's are hoping to have a positive signal. Reddick didn't get the job done. Zobrist didn't. But if somebody else, let's say Vogt does it here, picks them up, then it's I think a better feeling about the offense working together.
First pitch to Vogt is a fastball on the outside corner, strike 93 miles an hour from Chichi Gonzalez, the 23-year-old rookie right-hander. So Burns at second, Semien at first. Outfield just pulled a shade toward right center, but not a lot. Lowry, the on-deck hitter, hoping to get a chance to hit here in the bottom of the third. Vogt hits a line shot right up the middle, but into the glove of Elvis Andrus. Side retired, so tough luck hitting for the A's. A couple of line drives, but right at Ranger infielders. So the A's get 2 hits, and they strand a pair, and we're headed to the 4th. A's 1, Rangers nothing. Well, every time the A's turn a double play, Men's Warehouse will donate $100 to Year Up. Right now, find great deals on designer brands, including Joseph Abboud, Calvin Klein, and Kenneth Cole. To find a store or to shop online, visit menswarehouse.com. Shin-Soo Choo leading off the top of the 4th inning against Scott Kazmir, and he takes a first pitch strike. So lefty on lefty. Choo hit a fly ball to center field in the first inning. He's 3 for 9 in the series. Kazmir kicks, and it's in the dirt to the backstop, 1-1. Earlier in the year, Shin-Soo Choo, his average was in the low 100s. And that May turnaround by the Rangers had a lot to do with Choo really coming back. He hits this one high and foul down the left field line past up above the A's bullpen. So Kazmir ahead in the count, 1-2.
It's amazing what a healthy player, how much better he feels. And Choo's been dealing with some injury issues, and looks like he's healthy now. Swinging the bat well. Wearing a familiar double ear flap helmet.
2 pitch and a high slider, and he swings and misses, and that's the second strikeout for Scott Kazmir. 1 away here in the top of the 4th.
I think some of these hitters might be looking for a little bit more than what they're getting.
Yeah, because they don't have a hit yet.
Scott Kazmir just
Number 84,
changing speeds and elevating as he did that one, and maybe the fact that Bill Miller called the first pitch that was a little bit higher than normal for a strike, was called a strike, went back up, forced Choo to swing.
1 walk, 2 strikeouts so far for Kazmir as he faces Prince Fielder. Fielder hits one in the air to left. Fuld will go back a couple steps. He's got plenty of room. He reaches up and makes the catch. So 2 outs here in the 4th. The Prince Fielder 0 for 2. And that'll bring up Kyle Blanks. 1-0 the A's lead. A's scored a run in the bottom of the 1st inning. Trying to win a series here at home against the Rangers.
And in the Rangers, what, 6 consecutive winning series that they've had coming into play this 3-game series.
Rangers just 2 back of the struggling Houston Astros in the AL West. First pitch to Blanks, changeup up and away, 1-0.
And for the first time this year, tomorrow, when Houston plays Seattle, they'll see Felix Hernandez because they've missed him in the previous series.
Blanks hits one high in the air, shallow left field. Fuld coming in toward the line. He's got it, and that's a 7-pitch inning, for Scott Kazmir, and he has yet to allow a hit through the first 4 innings. Bottom of the 4th coming up. A's 1, Rangers 0. Bottom of the 4th inning from the Coliseum, with the A's leading the Rangers 1-0 in the rubber game of the series. Laurie to lead it off. First pitch is hit hard to right field. Choo gets back, turns around about 5 feet from the warning track. He makes the catch, and Brett Lawrie is retired. Been a tough series for Lawrie. He's now 0 for 10.
Now today actually has hit a couple of balls hard with the old Adam ball. And you see this young man, Chichi Gonzalez, that while he has had a lot of success in just a couple of starts, but you can see some balls that he hit hard. The defense, though, has been making some pretty good plays with him on the mound.
So one away for Canna. Chichi Gonzalez's first 2 starts were against Boston and then at Kansas City. First pitch is a strike. He had the 3-hit shutout in Kansas City against the very good Royals team. He was shaky in the first inning today, but he got a big double play ball to end it, and the A's got just the 1 run. 0-1 delivery to Canna. That's belted to right center field. On the move is Leonys Martin, and he will get there, and he makes the catch. About the last 10 feet, he kind of downshifted and coasted and made the catch. Leonys Martin, a very good center fielder.
When you cover the ground at whatever it's called now, the ballpark in Arlington, the home park, there's a big right center field area, left center, right center, and Martin does a very good job. So here, just watch him. He can play shallow, go back on the ball. He's very accustomed to doing that in his home park.
2 outs for Fegley. Fegley takes an inside corner strike. Well, we have said Leonys Martin is fundamentally, he's one of the best center fielders we've seen, because he doesn't coast. He gets to the spot where he thinks the ball is coming down.
Yeah, that's important.
Down and away to Fegley. 1-1 the count.
If you're going to coast, you better look at the flag and see that it's not blowing, because if the flag is blowing, the wind's blowing, and you coast, you get caught.
Fegley bounces one foul past Mike Gallego. The ball bounces off the tarp and into a fan's glove in the first row.
Just past Michael Zagaris.
Right, heads up.
Got the showing the guns.
Yeah.
It's not Dick Allen look there. He's Michael Z down there showing off those small pipes.
Grounded slowly off the glove of Gonzalez, the pitcher, and the bare hand play. Throw to first by the second baseman, Hanser Alberto, and they got Fegley at first. So Gonzalez probably should have made the play, but he missed it. But Alberto came charging in, and he made a heck of a play to end the 4th inning. Nothing for the A's. We'll go to the 5th. A's 1, Rangers nothing. It's the top of the 5th inning. Here's Vince.
Adam Rosales standing in.
Thank you, Glenn.
Against the southpaw. And the first pitch in the 5th is off the plate outside, ball 1. Rosie walked back in the 2nd. Originally began his career out of Western Michigan with the Cincinnati Reds. Got to the A's in 2010, and he's been with the Rangers the past couple of years. One offer is inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, it was 2013 when he was going one way, the car was going another, and the wife and the family was going another way. The wind, the 2-0. It swung on and lifted out of play behind home and back into the seats, and it's 2 balls and a strike. He was designated for assignment 4 times that year. 3 by the A's, once by Texas, and that was over the course of about a 5-week period in the summer. So look, my car was in Albuquerque. I was going to Texas, and my belongings were in Oakland or something along those lines. Here comes the 2-1. Change up away that a miss. A big cut by Rosales. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think one of his biggest moments as a name when he had that first pitch leadoff home run at Yankee Stadium against CC Sabathia.
Just shook the world and then sprinted around the bases on top of it, and before you knew it, he was in the dugout. A's were up 1-0.
That was in 2013. Versatile player. 2-2 pitch. Fastball hit out of play behind first.
I mean, you didn't like the double in Cleveland in the top of the 9th?
That's right, Angel. Hernandez.
You know that.
You mean the
booming double?
The homer double.
Yeah, that booming double off the first row of seats in Cleveland.
Oh, the best was the interview that Bob Melvin did post-game.
Oh man, that was awesome. He was just beside himself. So are we.
And a 2-2 changeup hit in the air. This one in play. Shallow right. In for it is Reddick. And Josh coming toward the line will make the catch, and there's 1 out. And Scott Kazmir on a bit of a roll. He's retired 9 in a row. And here comes Andrus.
Well, one of the highlights today already has been between innings, showing Michael Zagaris as he was setting up some shots between maybe taking some action shots of the guys on the field and showing off those guns.
Well, we've seen Michael Zagaris actually be at home plate to help exchange the lineup cards before the game.
That's right.
I mean,
first pitch, a strike on Andrus. It's 0-1. There's only one Z-Man.
Free pass here.
There's only one Z-Man. When's his book coming out? That's what I want to know.
When he retires.
Here comes the 0-1. Kazmir deals a changeup line back up the middle, and that is the first hit of the day for Texas. It took 4 1/3, and Andrus has a clean single back through the middle, and he's aboard for Leonis Martin. And that'll bring Martin to the plate at a line drive, and Marcus Semien, who was shading up the middle, made a nice play to his left, and that ended the second inning. So Kazmir back to the stretch. It was on this day in baseball history that Johnny Vandermeer threw his first of back-to-back no-hitters in 1938, and also Nolan Ryan no-hit the A's on June 11th of 1990, the 6th of his 7 no-hitters. A slider outside. Martin showed bunt, ran up to lay it down and pull back in time, and that's ball 1. And Mark Canna's going to come over and get some rosin and have a word or two for Kazmir to make sure they're on the same page with Andrus at first base.
Well, every time a no-hitter is pitched, Johnny Vandermeer's name always comes up, because that's a record that would be tough to break too, because you'd have to pitch 3 to break his record of back-to-back.
Let alone tie it.
Exactly. But his name is mentioned as there's one. Let's see if he can pull a Johnny Vandermeer.
Look at first base, and the pitch swung on, lifted into left, coming in toward the line is Fold, and Sam will go into foul ground and make a nice running catch near the A's bullpen. Stayed with it. Martin retired for the second out. Here comes Corporon. At first no-hitter was against the Braves. Then 4 days later, he no-hit the Brooklyn Dodgers. Talking about Vandermeer.
Was it the second no-hitter, though? Wasn't it the first night game ever at Ebbets Field?
Yeah.
Oh, it was dark there. Couldn't see.
Not like they threw the ball out of play after every time it just barely touches the dirt like they do today.
The lights were not good at Ebbets Field.
And when the ball went in the stands, they said, please return the baseball, like when you're playing amateur baseball.
How many scuffs do you think those baseballs had on them? Better the pitchers couldn't make it really dance.
Well, I was going to say they knew how to make them dance because of the scuffs.
Now Corporon stands in to stretch the pitch. A fastball hit out of play off to the right. 1 strike to the Rangers catcher. We're in the 5th. A's leading at 1-0. Scored back in the 1st on an RBI single by Ben Zobrist.
You know, a scuff baseball is very hard on a catcher, because he can call a pitch, and if the ball is scuffed and the pitcher doesn't know it, the pitch goes exactly the opposite perhaps of what he's hoping or thinking about. And the Sonny Gray has a lot of movement on his pitches, whether scuffed and definitely not scuffed.
0-1, swing and a miss, fastball away, a bluff to first base, and Andrews scampers back on his belly to get in safely with no throw from Fegley. It's 0-2.
But I mean, a lot of times a pitcher doesn't know where his scuffed baseball is going to go.
Well, a lot of times a pitcher look at a baseball and it's just scuffed, I throw it away.
Keep that.
Thank
Put it
you.
in your pocket.
The other guy's tried to scuff it intentionally, and you're throwing one out that has a scuff mark on it.
Kazmir trying to close out the top of the 5th. At the belt, the big leg kick to pitch, a fastball just off the outside corner, and that time Scott reached back for a little extra. He touched 94, but didn't get the call on Corporon, and it's 1-2. Very close pitch.
Well, just as important, he had the runner at first base. Andrus going back to the bag with the delivery where he lifts the front leg and kind of looks to first base.
He's got 8 steals on the year. He's been caught 4 times. And a changeup floats off the plate wide from Kazmir. Ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nolan Ryan threw 7 no-hitters to 7 different catchers. And we saw one of them at Fenway Park. Mike Stanley was there. Also played for the Red Sox. He was hanging around one day with Tim Wakefield.
I liked his comment that he told you about catching Nolan Ryan.
2-2. Fastball fouled at the plate. Well, spoke with Mike many years ago when Nolan was inducted into the Hall of Fame in '99. And when I was with the Rangers, we did a week-long special on Nolan and talked to a lot of folks like Mike and Alan Ashby, Tom Seaver. I spent a lot of time with Nolan as well. But when Mike Stanley said he was catching Nolan, and said you don't put down signs for Nolan Ryan, you put down suggestions.
That's great.
2-2 the count. A's leading 1-0 in the 5th. Now time called. Corporon will reattach the batting gloves.
In the latter part of his career, you never bunted on Nolan. You never did a lot of things. You never checked the baseball because he'd say that boy needs a bow tie. That bow tie some kind could be hurt.
Here's a 2-2. Changeup just floats off the outside corner. Kazmir held the pose. He didn't get the call from Bill Miller. And now the count is full, and Andrus will be in motion from first base.
Not getting the calls, but how's Corporon not swinging to those pitches? I mean, his eye can't be that good. I mean, it's good. Compliment him on that, but 2 very close pitches.
So Canna playing behind the runner. 3-2 swing and a miss. He came back off speed and finished them off. And the inning is over for Texas. No runs, hits, no errors, a man left. Kazmir 3 Ks through 5. And the A's lead the Rangers 1-0. In the East Bay, not a cloud in the sky. A's leading 1-0. Sam Fuld, Billy Burns, and Marcus Semien against Chichi Gonzalez, who delivers a strike over the inside corner. He's retired 6 in a row. Fuld, a ground ball to second, his only time up. Gonzalez to the plate, And he deals wide, evens the count, and a ball and a strike.
Now I have to ask you. I mean, you've been around.
You have
baseball,
to ask me something.
And you're so knowledgeable of baseball. Can you think of many players who've had the name Chi-Chi?
1-1 line back up the middle, reaching for it is Andrews. He can't get it to his left, and Foldo's aboard with a crisp single back up the middle.
That's always a good sign for Sam Foley. Works hard at his craft, and to see him do what he did last night and to start this inning with a solid base hit up the middle. So have you?
I can't say that I have. The only Chi-Chi I know used to twirl the putter and back it in like he's got a sword.
I know. The Chi-Chi Rodriguez, you always think about him, but I can't think of Choo-Choo Coleman.
Choo-Choo Freeman.
Yeah, the Choo-Choos, but not Choo-Chis.
Now Burns, he's walked, stolen a base, and scored, and he is singled through the left side. Switch hitter batting left. Gonzalez readies, and Burns shows bunt, takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
Well, that is not a bad idea by Billy Burns, and because of his speed, almost with Blanks holding Fold at first, there's a threat to steal. If he could drag the ball towards first base, I mean, then it's a foot race between Burns and the first baseman or the pitcher.
Outfield playing the other way on Billy. And the 0-1 grounded left side, and it's going to get through for a hit. Andrews helpless with the feeling watching that ball tumble past him to his right, and Burns has been on all 3 times. The A's have runners at first and second, and nobody out for Marcus Semien.
I think we have to nickname Billy Burns Wee Willie Keeler. Hit him where they ain't, because he hits some of the softest balls that ends up through the infield or finds a way to be a hit, whether it be an infield hit or that ball. And I mean, that's just a craft to be able to make contact. That's what can happen.
That reminds me, when he's batting left-handed, when he does that, it reminds me of Brett Butler.
Absolutely.
He did that so often for so many years.
You know, also the way he kind of runs out of the batter's box, like Ichiro, you know, because Ichiro would always fly out of the batter's box and just try to slap him.
So a chance here for the A's to up their 1-0 advantage. 6 hits.
I knew this was going to happen.
You asked for a Chi-Chi, and we found one.
We found one. Chi-Chi Olivo. Thank you. The Braves.
Pitched for 5 years in the 60s. Now Marcus standing in. He swings and drives one in the gap in right center. Chu on the run. He's there to make the catch. Tagging from second. On his way to third is Fold. Marcus made loud contact. A line drive to right center. But he advances Fold from second to third. So a productive out. And here comes Josh Reddick.
Yeah, the thing about the hard outs, and again, a ball slicing back to, in this case, an outfielder, and a very good inside-out swing by Marcus Semien. But the movement on the baseball, and between Chu's speed and right and Martin in center, plus the shield's going to run too, so there's nothing against him, but the ball, the way that gap in right center, it's kind of hard to find.
And that positioning by Chu as well, because he's a few steps over toward the alley. He's not in that standard spot that you see in right field on the other side of the out-of-town scoreboard. So Gonzalez in trouble again. Runners at the corners. A's are trying to capitalize and increase their 1-0 lead as Reddick stands in, and Josh had a chance in the third in this situation and hit a fly ball to shallow left. Burns at first base. The set by Gonzalez, and the pitch is inside with a slider, ball 1.
Billy Burns getting a big lead at first base, and he may be thinking about running. Forget about leaving the hole there for Josh Reddick, one that Zobrist had in the first inning.
Burns with his 11th steal back in the first inning. It led to a run, being held on by Kyle Blanks. And back to first base goes Gonzalez.
You know, the only difference here, Vinny, with 1 out, and if you're first, unless it's 100% sure you're going to make it, you don't want to run into an out and take the bat out of a hitter with a first and third, where a fly ball, ground ball, more to double play, could have played another run.
Another move to first, and again Burns is back. Billy stands about 5'10", and Blank stands at 6'8". And that is quite a picture over around the bag there.
Just don't allow Blanks to stand on the bag.
A high set by Gonzalez, a quick pitch, and the delivery is wide. And he's behind Reddick, 2 balls and no strikes. He tried to sneak one in there quickly and didn't get the call.
I think this is advantageous for a hitter because of the speed of Burns at first, and Reddick just has to be patient enough, because the quick pitch or the slide step, he might get a cookie to hit.
Infield hoping to turn 2. Rosales even with the bag off the line at third. Another toss back over to first, and Burns has certainly captured the attention of Gonzalez. We'll see if Reddick can take advantage of that. The set, the 2-0. It is over but low. Good take on a sinker. And it's 3 balls and no strikes.
And a good catch by Corcoran. Wow. He's snatching. To call him a Jojima.
Taking it right out of the zone, is he?
And boy, you just wonder if one's going to scoot under his glove.
3-0 pitch. He's swinging away and lifts it down the left field line. Coming over is DeShields toward foul territory, makes the catch in foul ground. Tagging is Fold. Here comes the throw. It's right on the money. The tag applied by Corcoran, and Fold is out at home plate. DeShields on the fly from left field, guns down Fold, and that ends the inning for the A's in the 5th. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. Fold tried to tag and score, but gunned down, and we go to the 6th. It's still 1-0 Oakland. Still 1-0 Oakland, thanks to the great throw by Delino to Shields, gunning down Sam Fold. As we start the top of the 6th inning, and Kazmir against 9-1-2 for the Rangers, beginning with Hanser Alberto. He shows bunt and makes contact and fouls it behind the plate for strike 1. DeShields went into foul territory. Made a great throw to the plate, and as you mentioned in the break, Ray, you always question now, is the catcher giving the lane to the runner? And the A's did not ask for the umpires to look at that play on replay. Here comes the 1-strike offer. Changeup lifted out of play off to the right, and it's 0-2.
And looking at the replay, he did give him a lane, which basically it's all you have to do, and just give him some sort of the part of the plate to slide to. And so Corcoran caught it and then dropped his body in front of the plate. Nice technique.
Here's the 0-2. Fastball hit out of play. Back behind first base, and it's still 2 strikes on Alberto, robbed of a hit on a nice play by Marcus Semien in the 3rd. Well, you got to challenge DeShields, make him make the play, and man, it was a perfect throw. Here comes the 2-strike pitch again, inside, 1-2 on Alberto. He's leading 1-0 here in the top of the 6th inning. The pitch, missing low with a changeup. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. It's brought to you by the beautiful Waterfront Hotel in Oakland's Jack London Square. The offensive woes continue for the Mariners. They were blanked today in Cleveland 6-0. They managed only 2 hits. Sean Markham got the win over Jay Happ. 2-2, changeup, a swing and a miss, and the bat goes past third base and picked up by the third base coach Tony Beasley. And Alberto, the 4th strikeout victim of Kazmir. That's throwing the bat at the baseball. We're certainly being fooled by the pitch.
I think fool is a better. Yeah, I think that's fool.
The bat boy had about 300 yards to go get the bat and bring him back to the dugout.
And it wasn't broken. It was just a full-on bat. Take it back. Maybe give it as a souvenir. Souvenir City.
Now DeShields stands in. And a fastball strike on the outside corner. DeShields, a fly ball to left and a line drive to left. And a fly ball to left and a line drive to short. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Good breaking ball. It's 0-2. Talking about the Mariners, 14 of their last 15 games, they've scored 3 runs or less.
Who are they going to trade for next?
Yeah, they traded for Mark Trumbo. Finally drove in a run for them yesterday. But hasn't jump-started their offense like they would have hoped. At least not yet. 0-2 fastball fouled back. Angels tonight at Tampa Bay. Garrett Richards against Alex Colomé. Boston at Baltimore. Wade Miley against Chris Tillman.
Well, we won't talk to the Angels very much tomorrow. They're flying all night to come back.
And the pitch. Swinging a foul back. Yeah, it's one of those cases where they're going from east to west. They do get the 3 hours, but still. It is a long ride, and I think a lot of that has to do sometimes with the way when you play in Southern California, you're forced to play a lot of night games there, and teams are traveling, so they do it just the opposite. Change up to DeShields is outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's called we'll reciprocate. You play a night game when we're traveling home, we'll give a night game, and it's surprising, but the fact that it's 3 hours going west, they can do it.
1-2 changeup hitting the gap in left center field. Burns on the run along with Fold. A dive by Burns. He caught it. Wow. Billy Burns fully extended in left center field. Somehow, someway got the ball in his glove. What a catch. That was spectacular.
And then Sam Fold jumped over him, and then it looked like he was kind of deferring to Sam Fold as he was running after the ball, kind of hesitated, saw that Sam was not going to get it, and then left his feet and made an unbelievable play.
That was something.
Yes, it was.
Sam Fold knows something about great catches, and even he was tipping his cape to Burns. A swing and a miss by Chu. It's 0-1.
But I think the changeup to DeShields is a pitch they can put in the back pocket and not do it again, because that was the line and drive that he hit in his last at bat. That caught by Simeon.
0-1 pitch lifted toward left. Fold has a play, tracks it down, makes a cap-high catch, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the 6th inning for Scott Kazmir. Thanks in part to the acrobatic play by Billy Burns. On to the bottom of the 6th inning, still 1-0 Oakland. Ben Zobrist starts the bottom of the 6th inning. A's leading 1-0, and Ben's RBI back in the 1st inning was the run that is the difference in this game. Switch hitter batting left. Gonzalez fires inside. 1-1 the count. Visit www.waterfronthoteloakland.com and enter the promo code baseball to save on your next stay. Fastball downstairs to Ben. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Vogt and Laurie to follow in the inning. 62 pitches on the day for Chi Gonzalez. And it's 2-1. Swung on, pulled on the ground right behind first base. Blanks has it. He'll take it over to the bag, and there's 1 out.
Now, Vinny, you were talking about the Angels. They must be kicking themselves a little bit because at the same time that the Astros are losing 7 in a row, the Angels lost 6 out of 7. And that's your shot to make a move. Because generally, I think you pick up games in the standings. Time happens quickly. Yeah. And they had a shot here with the Astros struggling, and they were not able to do anything with that chance this week.
Vogt stands in, shows bunt, and sees a strike over the inside corner.
It's a formula they used last year, running past the A's.
Yep. It usually happens quickly.
And that was in the head-to-head meetings.
Yeah.
Here comes the 0-1. Outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Vogt has walked, and he's lined to short. A's so far made a run in the 1st inning. Hold up. Gonzalez has worked 20 innings in the big leagues. He's allowed 1 run, and the 1-1 pitch is fouled back. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You know, they're minus Yu Darvish, Derek Holland, Martin Perez, Matt Harrison, all members of the rotation at one time or another over the last couple of years, and it created an opportunity for a youngster like Gonzalez to be pushed to the big leagues. 1-2 swing and a miss. You got Stephen to chase one upstairs at 93, and down he goes. And for Gonzalez, that is his 2nd K of the day. So 2 outs, nobody on. Here comes Brett Laurie.
Now batting third baseman, number 15, Brett Laurie.
Laurie's been up twice. He's seen 2 pitches. A 1-hop smash to short with the bases loaded in the 1st. A 6-4-3 double play. And a drive to deep right. And he goes after the first pitch here, and he fouls it back for strike 1.
But those, I mean, those are, he's swinging at hittable breaking balls, and teams keep throwing him the breaking ball.
Target is inside this time. They tie him up. He swings and misses. Got one in under his hands, and it's 0-2.
And I say keep throwing him the breaking balls. I guess they're not breaking balls in the dirt, but breaking balls that are hittable.
Here's the 0-2. Look out, it hit off of Laurie. He took a shot, I think, off of his left arm or shoulder area. And he is wincing as he makes his way up the first baseline.
Well, to see him react the way he did, that's why Bob Melvin and Walt Horn are going to take a look at him and solidly, maybe not throwing as hard as Ventura in Kansas City, but hitting the right spot. It doesn't matter how hard it's thrown.
And he is still walking behind the first base bag. Looked like he hit, what, above the elbow there, upper arm?
Maybe closer to the elbow than the shoulder.
Yeah. And a lot of the players today, while they don't wear those garish guards of years gone by from Bonds and Biggio, a lot of them do wear that one little hard plastic pad on the elbow, which he does not wear.
He's got it on the right arm. And it's funny, he was shaking his right arm, so I guess as he was moving, it missed his left side because Walt Horn is checking his right hand.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of moving parts for Brett Laurie as he's at the plate, and he had both arms dangling, but
we get another chance to look at a replay, and
I think it went right past his left elbow and hit his right wrist or in the hand area.
Well, he's going to stay in the game as the A's manager and Walt Horn jog off the field. And so Laurie's at first base. He's got 2 steals in 3 tries. I wouldn't be surprised if he ran on the first pitch.
And that wouldn't be a bad idea. There are 2 outs, and trying to do something, there's some frustration as well.
Marquand at the plate. He holds, and a pitch is blooped behind first base. Foul ground. Blanks is over near his own dugout. And it's in right behind the dugout in the front row, and the fan makes the catch.
Nice play.
Wearing an Adrian Beltre jersey.
Plays like Beltre. He probably got a few gold gloves himself. Young man in the front row.
Beltre on the trip. He's still got that thumb fracture in his left hand. He's unable to hit. He's been throwing to try to keep that part of his game alive. Nice play by the youngster. He's leading 1-0 here, and a 1-strike count to Canna. He's hit the ball hard twice to right center. Both times tracked down by Martin, who's playing extremely deep.
Is he out there?
It's
center fielder Leonis Martin.
It's the 6th inning, and you would think it's the 9th inning or the 8th inning with a 1-run lead for Texas.
He's probably what, maybe 6 or 7 steps from the warning track.
All three of them are all of them are like that.
Yeah. Too bad the infield's not playing in. You would really see a gap.
So 1 strike to Canna. Gonzalez to the plate, and the pitch is head out of play off to the right. A's will be taking on the Angels starting tomorrow from Southern California. And it'll be Jesse Chavez against Hector Santiago.
That means Hector's on a plane right now, right? If not,
I would think so. I would think they would fly him ahead.
Jesse's going to go with the A's.
He's going home.
That's right.
Lives in Pomona. 0-2 offer. Breaking ball just off the outside corner. Good take on a close pitch by Mark, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. We'll give Gonzalez credit. He's pitched through some traffic today. He was in trouble in the first inning. He limited the damage to just 1 run when the A's had a chance to really put a crooked number up there. 1-2 pitch. Swung on, bounce left side, and off the glove of Rosales, past Andrews, and through to left field. Canna hits one that finds its way through the left side of the infield. Moves Laurie to second base. We'll see if the A's can do some damage here with 2 outs and 2 on as Mike Maddox walks out to the mound to talk things over again with Gonzalez, with Josh Phegley coming to the plate. And we'll pause 10 seconds. Station identification on the A's radio network. On this Thursday afternoon, alongside Glenn Kuiper and Ray Fosse, Vince Cotroneo with you. A's leading 1-0.
Vinny, it's amazing that in a day that's a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, and figure the ball has traveled better. 20 fly ball outs between the 2 pitchers. Not one's left the yard. Which line drives, fly ball outs, but just nothing like what Max Muncy did last night. A towering fly ball that probably would have made it today, but you can be a fly ball pitcher on a day like today, and sometimes it can hurt you, but line drives is a little different story.
Phegley certainly has the ability to hit one out. He's 0 for 2 today. His fly to left and grounded to second. To stretch the pitch off the plate outside with Corporon parked in the left-handed batter's box. That's ball 1. Josh hitting nearly 400 in his last 11 games. Not an easy thing to do as the backup catcher, not playing every day, not really having that rhythm and that comfortable feel in the batter's box. Bob Melvin knows a little bit about what that was like in his career as a backup catcher. 1-0 Oakland. They've got 7 hits against Gonzalez, and a fastball is inside. And 2 balls and no strikes on Phegley. Give Phegley credit on that pitch. It was called a strike much of the day by Bill Miller, and one that he swung at earlier. But he doesn't believe, at least in that count, that it's a pitch he should go after.
Right.
And was smart enough to lay off, and now it's in his favor, 2-0. 2-0 pitch. Came inside again, grounded weakly to Rosales. Third baseman has it, goes the short way. They force Canna at second, and the inning is over. The A's with more traffic, they get a hit, but they strand 2, and they've left 7 onto the top of the 7th inning. 1-0 Oakland. Purchase a group of 25 or more in the field level on select games, and everybody in your group gets an A's replica batting practice pullover. For more information, call 510-638-GO-A's or visit athletics.com/jersey to book your group jersey day at the O.Co Coliseum. On to the 7th inning, 1-0 Oakland, and here's here's Glenn. I saw Ken, and there's Glenn.
That's fair. That's a fair mistake. First pitch to Prince Fielder is a bit high from Scott Kazmir.
My apologies.
I have to give you that one. That's fair. You've spent 12 years with Ken Cora?
Just seems like 12, but this is the 10th.
Slider away, 2-0 to Prince Fielder. Fielder, Blanks, and Rosales here in the top of the 7th inning.
He's called me worse, but that's okay.
Kazmir, pitch number 78 coming up, and it's in there for a strike. Prince Fielder could not pull the trigger.
See, Cap, if you had thanked him, he would call you the right name. Let's see.
Well, I thought I wasn't supposed to say thank you.
Well, you're not supposed to.
I'm abiding by the Bill King Book of Broadcasting. 3-1 as the pitch is down and away to Prince Fielder.
We are in the Bill King broadcast booth.
Kazmir has allowed just 1 hit through 6 innings. He's got a walk and 4 strikeouts as he delivers the 3-1, and it just missed outside. A very close pitch. It's been a tight strike zone with Bill Miller, home plate umpire today, and it's a leadoff walk here in the 7th.
As aggressive as Fielder is, I'm surprised he was taking almost as if he was taking all the way on the 3-1, and he has power to go to the opposite field and did not offer at the pitch just off the plate, evidently.
So here's Kyle Blanks. Blanks hitting in that cleanup spot. Mitch Moreland not in the lineup today. Blanks has struck out and hit a fly ball in the left field. And the first pitch to Blanks is lined down the right field line, well foul. Bounces off the side wall. And the count 0-1. The A's scored in the very first inning, and that is it. 1 run, 7 hits, no errors for the A's. No runs, 1 hit, no errors for the Texas Rangers. Very short lead for Fielder as he's not going anywhere, and the changeup is up and away, 1-1 the count. Burns playing fairly deep in center field for the A's. Infield double play depth. Canna holding on Fielder even though he's got an extremely short lead. And the 1-1 pitch is inside, 2-1. So Scott Kazmir early on. Velocity not there. It's gone up a little bit, but none of that has mattered. He's been terrific so far.
Well, proof that if you can have excellent control, spot the fastball, breaking pitches, you can have success.
Missed a little bit low. 3-1, 91 miles an hour that time. And he hasn't really thrown a lot of sliders. It's really been a lot of, obviously fastballs, but a lot of changeups. 84 pitches so far. And a big pitch here. 3-1 to Blanks. Blanks had a good rip, fouled it straight back. So full count.
And he found 93 that time too again. So there have been moments where Scott has had that extra given the circumstance.
And that might have been intentional today, just to hold a little bit in reserve just when he needed it. Needs it again here on the 3-2.
Blanks waits. Kazmir the look and the delivery, and it's fouled straight back to the screen again. Fastball inside, and Blanks fights it off. So the count remains full, 3-2. The only hit in the game for Texas was a 1-out signal by Elvis Andrus in the 5th inning. Kazmir gets the sign, checks, and the payoff pitch is hit hard but foul down the third base line toward the A's bullpen.
Blanks did not go on a rehab, just activated today, and was on the place on the DL in late May. I know some guys are different than others, but you would think that at least that first day back he's got a little bit of a different kind of timing. Try to take advantage of it.
Another 3-2, and it's a broken bat, little flare foul on the right field line. Canna chased it, could not get it. And the head of the bat went all the way to the far end of the A's dugout. Wow. I've seen a little bit too much of that lately.
Too much for sure.
So did not go into the stands. There's a little area on the far end of the A's dugout where the grounds crew sit during the game.
Well,
headed down to that area.
At least here versus at Fenway and I think every other park, there's a lot of foul territory.
Yep. 3-2 Casimir deals, and he got him swinging a high fastball, and that one at 95 miles an hour, and Blanks may have swung at ball 4.
But just the fact the fastball, he's looking for it, a little bit extra from Scott Casimir, and well, that's a great job of pitching. If you can hold it in reserve, I always think about Mike Mussina, who said I never throw 100% all the time, throw it about 90%, but I need the 100. I can do it. And Tom Seaver talked about the same thing. Great pitchers just do not want to show everything they have with every pitch.
1 out for Rosales, and Rosales takes the first pitch strike with a changeup. Rosales walked in the 2nd and hit a fly ball to right field in the 5th.
Now, how many times you see a pitcher throw something off speed, curveball, changeup, first pitch? Hitters will take it because they're looking for something else, especially a fastball.
Got a fastball there, but it missed a little bit low, but a close pitch by Casimir. 1-1 the count.
But a hitter gets to 2 strikes, it changes, but first pitch, first couple probably until he gets a couple of strikes, he's going to sit fastball and try to do something with that pitch.
Elvis Andrus is the on-deck hitter. 1-1 delivery, and it's a swing and a miss by Rosales. And a pitch that was a little bit in.
Got a few uppercut swings. Blanks a huge uppercut on the 3-2 fastball. Rosales that time trying to lift on a pitch that was inside.
Could not quite get to it. So now Casimir ahead in the count, 1-2. Fielder a 1-step lead at first. And the pitch is hit hard to Simeon. Handles a tough hop. Flips to second for 1. Double play. A 1-hopper off the bat of Rosales. And it was a tailor-made double play. 6-4-3. And that will do it for the Rangers. 7th inning stretch from the Coliseum. That's coming up. The A's with a 1-0 lead. Bottom of the 7th inning from the Coliseum. Lots of sunshine, and the A's leading 1-0 as Sam Fuld leads it off against Chichi Gonzalez. And the first pitch is a ball to Sam Fuld. Fuld followed by Burns and Simeon here in the 7th. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. Changeup floats down and away. 2-1 the count. See 80 pitches for Chichi Gonzalez, and for the first time there's some action in the Rangers bullpen. So Freeman, line drive right field, and a base hit for Sam Fuld. So Sam Fuld, maybe he's starting to turn things around offensively. He's 2 for 3.
It's amazing what happens in a game, and Eric Sogard has been playing outstanding second base. He rolls over on his left wrist a couple of nights ago. Was not able to play last night. So Zobrist moves to second, forward to the outfield. Has a big hit last night, 2 today. Getting an opportunity to play, and Sogard doesn't do that the way he's played defense at second and swinging the bat. Probably would have still been in there. So Sam taking advantage of the opportunity and coming up with a couple of big hits.
And here's Burns, who's having a heck of a day. Rosales, the third baseman, creeps in on the grass. Burns not bunting, and he takes a strike. Burns walked and scored in the first, singled in the third, singled in the fifth, and made a highlight reel catch in center field in the 6th inning. Racing deep into left center field and taking at least a double away from DeShields. Quick throw to first, diving back is Fuld. So a lot of options here for Bob Melvin. You got speed at first and a good base stealer in Fuld. And you got lots of speed at the plate. And you got Simeon waiting in the on-deck circle. Outfield shallow and swung around toward left. Fouled straight back. So the terrific season by Billy Burns continues and he just keeps swinging it.
It's amazing. You make contact, swing it back, contacts. Good things can happen, especially with speed that he has. Choking up.
You know, we see guys that have the same skill set as Burns, but a lot of them have trouble keeping the ball out of the air. He does a pretty good job hitting it on the ground.
Jamal Weeks.
Yep. Delivery is a fastball away. So 1-2 to Burns as he steps out, takes a long look down to Mike Gallego. As we said, the left-hander Freeman is warming up on the bullpen. Sam Freeman.
And as you mentioned before, he's probably up for Josh Reddick.
Reddick 2 hitters away. Burns chops it. It is fouled, just fouled on the third base line as Rosales again playing in. He raced over to try to backhand it, but Adrian Johnson said it was just fouled, the third base umpire.
And I love the reaction by Mike Gallego. He kind of saunters over toward the line, kind of looks. I think he felt like he might have seen a ball mark in the dirt, almost like at a tennis match, and thinking, you know what, that was on the line or maybe inside the line.
Which meant it had to go over the bag.
Yeah.
So now Rosales backs up. He's playing much a normal depth at third base now. We've seen Burns try to bunt with 2 strikes. Yeah. 1-2 delivery, and it's a close pitch, called the ball. 2-2.
And just think, and taking that pitch, and Burns is very aggressive. He swings a lot of pitches, but the more he plays and the more selective he becomes, he's going to be an unbelievable player. He'll not have the power that Ricky Henderson had, leadoff home runs, but he has the speed.
2-2 delivery is chopped, foul up the first base line. That ball was almost in the dirt. In fact, it may have been in the dirt, and he still made contact. He just chopped it foul.
I think the umpires now are getting an idea of how Billy at times will swing at the pitch, where it does look like at times he's throwing his bat at the ball. Yeah. That's just his natural style, instead of that call last night that was not ruled catcher's interference.
And this one time he did not throw his bat. He had released the top hand but kept the lower hand on the bat.
So another 2-2 coming up to Burns, and here it is, and it's tapped foul. But you never see Billy Burns do that. I'm going to try to hit a home run swing, which you see smaller speed guys do once in a while, and you just shake your head like, what are you doing? But he does not do that. And he does have a couple of home runs.
Fastball he pulled to right field, and a breaking ball from CC Sabathia pulled from the right side down the left field line.
2-2 delivery, and it's rolled foul to the far end of the Rangers dugout. Pitch was inside. Burns way out in front of it.
I always think of the great Wade Boggs and how he's able to foul off tough pitches and stay alive and get a lot of hits, win batting championships. Billy Burns could do the same thing. I mean, if he learns how to do what he's doing right now, fouling off 4 with a couple of strikes.
Another 2-2 delivery with Full, the runner at first, and here it is, and it's just inside on a very close pitch. Chichi Gonzalez thought he may have strike 3.
10th pitch coming up, so quite an advantage, especially starting 0-2 as Burns did.
And you got to believe that Sam Fuld will take off here. 3-2, nobody out. A's leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Gonzalez, the pitch with the runner going. It's hit into center field, but right at Martin, who comes in and he makes the catch. Fuld will head back to first base for out number 1. AAA has over 100 years of experience saving people in trouble. That's why AAA and the American Red Cross have teamed up to help people prepare for emergencies and disasters. For every game-winning save this season, AAA will donate $500 to our local Red Cross. So you can high-five that game-winning save, knowing your community will be stronger in times of emergency. To learn more, visit AAA.com/saves.
Called a balk.
And they did.
Wow, Bill Miller, you can hear him all the way up here.
And the thing with a balk is, there's nothing you can do. You can't argue it. Jeff Bannister now has taken a couple steps out of the dugout, and Bill Miller's walking toward him, and they just want some type of explanation. And now Bill Miller is going to call the umpires together, which usually an umpire will say, can't argue a balk, but they are going to get together, which is interesting. Jeff Bannister is standing about 15 feet out in front of his dugout. And they're staying with it. And Gonzalez is standing on the mound, and he has no idea what he did.
Well, he started to throw the first and stopped. Was there time called, or did he? Well, I guess the balk was called as he was in motion to throw to first base.
I think they were looking at the position of his foot.
Yeah. And they may have dropped the back leg and bent it, which would indicate he had to throw to the plate.
So the runner is now at second. That's Sam Fuld, and here's Simeon, who tries to hold up but can't. He goes around in a pitch that was on the outer half, 0-1.
Well, you know, deception is the reason for balk. Actually, he deceived us. So, I don't know about guys on the field, but
Simeon takes another strike, and it's a quick 0-2 to Marcus, who has struck out, singled, and hit a fly ball to right field. So Simeon behind in the count, 0-2 with the runner in scoring position. He's looking for an insurance run. 0-2 pitch is reached for and hit foul. I always thought, I think you deserve an explanation if a balk is called. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot of different variations of a balk, but I guess it's not really in the rules.
And not to have 4 umpires get together, because they could have changed it if somebody had seen something differently.
Alberto trying to keep Fuld close at second, and the pitch, and Simeon tries to hold up. He can't on a pitch that was really running in on the hands, and that's a strikeout for Chichi Gonzalez. So Simeon a little frustrated. He slammed his bat on the grass. He just could not lay off a pitch that really was down and in, and it was a ball, but he went after it.
I will say this, in this day and age of technology and replay being handled from New York, if the umpires would have gotten together and determined, you know, that there was a deception, that he wasn't engaged on the mound and wasn't a balk, you would have seen a pretty serious argument from Bob Melvin, especially in a one-run game.
But the balk is such a strange rule. I mean,
Bob Davidson isn't even here today.
No, he's watching though. He could be in New York, and he could have somehow got info to the guys here that was a balk.
He should probably be checking his strike zone. Last Sunday, he was a little hard in the 8th inning on the strike zone. That well, that was then. This is now.
That was then. This is now. And right now, the A's need a 2-out hit from Reddick.
Well, and because of the 2 outs, Jeff Bannister is going to leave his right-hander in, maybe to say, think about how you're going to approach this guy.
Zobrist is the on-deck hitter. The first pitch is a strike.
And now we know that it will not be a 3-0 swing this time, because that first pitch was a strike.
Reddick singled back in the first inning. He's also hit a fly ball to left and flied out into a double play. And that one goes off the glove of the catcher Corcoran. Pitch was way outside, but Corcoran got after it quickly, and Sam Foltz stayed at second base. So the count 1-1 to Reddick. I think if Foltz would have went to third, I think that would have been a pass ball, because it was really very catchable, but Corcoran just kind of clanked it.
And with one out, he probably would have tried to get to third, but two, just figures he's in score position already.
Chichi Gonzalez about to throw pitch number 98 today in his third big league start. Takes a look, and the pitch to Reddick is outside. Looks like the young man has a pretty good idea how to pitch. He's in and out. He's not overpowering, but he's been impressive.
Got great poise out there. He's had a lot of traffic today.
2-1. Reddick waits, looking for something to hit. Outside, 3-1. Zobrist is the on-deck hitter.
And you think about the money that's tied up into those four guys Vinny mentioned earlier on the disabled list, and that's a ton of money the Rangers are paying guys who are on the DL. And you get a young kid like this who probably the minimum category and pitching great.
Setting up outside is Corcoran. The 3-1 pitch is off the plate outside, and Reddick has a walk.
Although I do miss when the A's faced Yu Darvish, because of all the things that Yu Darvish would accomplish. Anytime he faced the A's, you knew it was going to be a frustrating day for him, because the A's clearly had his number.
Except for the first ever start he made against the A's, and after that, it's nothing. That looked like a pitch around to Josh Reddick with another lefty coming up, and hey, Ben Zobrist has hit the ball hard today.
So Zobrist steps in. He has driven in the game's only run. That was in the first inning. He's leading 1-0. Bottom of the 7th. A's have had chances. They've stranded 7 through the first 6 innings, and they got 2 runners sitting out there right now with 2 outs. Pitch to Zobrist is in there for a strike. 93 miles an hour on a fastball from Chichi Gonzalez. Left side of the diamond, Rosales and Andrus shifted over to their left. Not a full shift, over maybe 3 or 4 steps. And a swing and a miss by Zobrist on another fastball that ran in, and he couldn't get to it. 0-2. So Zobrist steps out. Chichi Gonzalez goes for a little walk behind the mound. He's would love an insurance run at this point in the game. Gonzalez was on the rubber. Now he steps off and back on. And now he's ready. 0-2 to Zobrist. And that one hit hard to foul. He went back inside again. Ty Waller has to skip out of the way, the A's first base coach. So runners return, full to second, Reddick to first.
It looks like in this inning, Gonzalez does not want the A's hitters to extend their arms. Stayed inside with Simeon. Reddick away from him, but like he's pitching around, maybe carefully. And Zobrist, everything inside.
Zobrist steps out as Gonzalez steps off the rubber. A cat and mouse game.
And you're facing a pitcher for 4 times. You have a pretty good idea of what he's trying to do, and Corcoran also.
Zobrist taps one slowly down the third baseline, foul. Rosales picks it up and tosses it into the stands. So kind of a protect swing by Zobrist. He just reached for it, rolled and foul. So 104 pitches now for Chichi Gonzalez. That last start, when he had the shutout at Kansas City, he threw 116. 0-2 to Zobrist, got him swinging. So Zobrist strikes out, and the A's strand 2 more. That's 9 stranded through 7 innings. But the A's hanging on to a 1-0 lead as we head to the 8th. On to a 1-0 lead, and it's the top of the 8th inning, and it's back to Vince Cotroneo.
Elvis Andrus, Leonis Martin, and Carlos Corporon. Thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome, Vin,
for joining us today on the simulcast.
To be nice to each other, so you get two more shutout innings, and he's got a victory.
You mean like Bill Miller was nice to Vinny today?
Oh yeah, he's amicable.
Amicable.
There you go.
Amicable.
Andrus is hit into a forced play, singled up the middle. He has the only hit today allowed by Kazmir. A clean line drive back in the center. Right-hand batter against the left-hand pitcher. Scott a long look in to Josh Phegley starting this inning. Andy Perino has come into the game. He is at shortstop. And Marcus Semien is done for the day. So Andy in the 2 spot in the lineup. And Kazmir's first pitch showing bunt as Andrus takes a strike on the outside corner. And it is 0-1, and that is pitch number 94 on the day from Kazmir. A great ratio, 64 strikes of the 94 pitches. The wind and the 0-1. Breaking ball, that one to the outside corner. I remember when Ron Romanek was with the A's, longtime roving instructor, and then coached the AAA. He was the bullpen coach here for the A's. Of course, pitched in the big leagues. He always talked about a good strike percentage for a game is around 61%. And Kazmir way ahead of that. Here's the 0-2. Fastball high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And as we mentioned earlier today, it seems like he's cleared the hurdle because he just threw 93 on his 96th pitch. That it took him a while to get things going the way he wanted to, but he had good enough command to get through the Rangers a couple of times. 1-2. Fastball hit late. Off to the right. That tells all you need to know. Right there, 8th inning. You want to talk radar guns and this, that, and the other. As you know, baseball people will tell you, the hitter will tell you how well the pitcher's throwing.
I have to wonder also how much today has been planned by Kazmir. It's just a second start since having the extended period of time between starts. Short start his last one against Boston.
1-2 pitch. Fastball hit towards center. Not deep. Billy Burns has the play, waiting for it to come down. He's there to make the catch. And there's one out. As we remind you that this copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics for the private and non-commercial use of our audience. Any reproduction or retransmission of the description and account of this game in any form without the express written consent of the Oakland Athletics is strictly prohibited. Now Leonis Martin left on left.
That last pitch, fastball inside, and the hitter knows it's a strike. Not much he can do. Can't drive it, and just a routine fly ball to center.
Martin takes a fastball strike, and it's 0-1.
So location is as good, sometimes, if not better, than velocity.
Scott off the third base side of the hill, back to the plate, off speed, lifted behind third and foul ground. Over is Laurie near the seats, but no chance for a play. Bounces on the roof of the A's dugout and into the crowd. No, it's 0-2 on Martin.
Laurie was running and he kind of put his hands up. I didn't see it. Yeah, it's kind of probably looked right in the sun.
You got the high sky today. As somebody used to say that, he said, "We're no little angels up there today." Ooh.
You used to say that.
Milo.
It's your buddy. Hall of Fame Milo Hamilton.
0-2 the count. Time call. Martin steps out. Carlos Corporon waiting on deck.
I didn't know you did Milo on the air. That's
0-2 pitch. Swung on, fouled off to the left side.
Showing respect. Man.
That's all we're going to do, by the way.
I mean, the pregame Vinny doing Milo, usually around 4:30 to 5 before a game, is very entertaining. But I did not know you did Milo on the air.
Glad I can entertain you, Glenn. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him on a fastball upstairs. And Martin is down on strikes. A half a dozen for Kazmir.
Kind of, you are fortunate. You know, you did an excellent job play-by-play on radio. But usually when Vin turned over, don't worry, I'll be back.
Well, that's what I was going to say to Vinny. When I finished the 4th inning, I was going to say, "Don't worry, fans, I'll be back in the 7th." I didn't think that was appropriate.
Probably not. Considering the amicable relationship that he has with Milo.
Change up. You like that word today, don't you, Ray? Change up outside, ball 1 on Corporon. A's clinging to a 1-0 lead. Let's get it back on the field, shall we?
That's exactly right.
Corporon, a strikeout swinging his last time up. A swing and a little bouncer outside of third base, and that evens the count at a ball and a strike.
Well, you'd have to think, even though Scott Kazmir has got up just one hit, pitch count, you're always concerned, and he's over 100. Gets through this inning. Maybe somebody would finish it. Maybe he would get the opportunity to go back out for the ninth. As I speak, Clippard starts to get loose in the bullpen.
Begley puts down the fingers, and now Kazmir back to the play with the 1-1. Swung on and sent towards center. Back is Burns to the track near the wall. Reaches up, makes the catch, crashes at the 400-foot side. Man, oh man.
What a day, huh?
Billy Burns on display. He bails out Scott Kazmir yet again with a circus catch on the track, ending the top of the 8th inning. On their feet, and why not? On to the bottom of the 8th, 1-0 Oakland. On to the bottom of the 8th inning. A raucous round of applause for Billy Burns when he came off the field after making another outstanding play and keeping the A's in front 1-0. And left-hander Sam Freeman is summoned from the bullpen for the 2nd consecutive game as he faces Stephen Vogt, Brett Lawrie, and Mark Canha. The A's in search of some insurance here for what has been an outstanding effort from Scott Kazmir. Vogt has walked, lined to short, and struck out. Freeman, coming over from the Cardinal organization when he was designated for assignment, making his 14th appearance. Last night, he worked the 2 batters. He retired Billy Burns, but then gave up the single to Josh Reddick. He eventually scored. Left on left here, facing Vogt, and the pitch is outside with a slider, ball 1. Right-hander Tyler Clippard, the A's closer, has begun to heat up in the A's bullpen. Outfield deep the other way for Stephen. Freeman off the first base side of the hill, tries a curve, it sweeps outside for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes.
You can understand why the Rangers like Chichi Gonzalez. I mean, he did a very good job, and plus his manager Jeff Bannister left him in the 7th, got through the 7th, and hopes that the Rangers would score, maybe be able to pick him up a win. Bob Melvin did that with Graveman in Detroit.
There's a 2-0 pitch off the plate outside and low. 3-0 the count. Yeah, Gonzalez, he had a dozen base runners. The A's have left 9 men on today and have managed to score just a 1 first-inning run. And now looking to get to the bullpen as they did last night in the victory. Fastball, look out, under the chin of Vogt, and that's ball 4. And he's aboard to start the inning. And with the A's up by 1 run, see if the A's might use Eric Sogard here to pinch run.
They'll get a different pitcher.
As Jeff Bannister takes the slow walk toward the mound, and he will now summon a right-hander for Texas. So the A's leading 1-0. Pitching change at the Coliseum. Freeman is done after one batter. We'll tell you who comes on in relief when we return to the O.co after this. A 6'5", 235-pound right-hander summoned from the bullpen for Texas. Leadoff walk for Stephen Vogt, and that's it for Sam Freeman. And Edwards making his second appearance in the series and his 8th of the year. He's been up twice with Texas. He has not allowed a run yet, although he has walked 5 in 4 2/3 innings. Vogt at first. Laurie at the plate. He's 0 for 2. He got hit by a pitch. Oakland leading 1-0. And the first pitch is popped up on the right side. Looking up from the high sky, Alberto, second baseman, shielding his eyes with his glove, makes the catch in shallow right. And Laurie, who's been up on 4 different occasions today, has seen the grand total of 6 pitches. And he's retired, and here comes Mark Canha.
First baseman, number 20, Mark
Canha single through the left side his last time up. 1 run, 8 hits for the A's, no runs, 1 hit for the Rangers. Neither side has committed an error. Canha 1 for 6 in the series. Edwards off the first base side of the hill. Rosales deep at third, he's off the line. Outfield playing to pull. And the first delivery down and away with a slider, ball 1. They scored a run back in the first inning, a walk, a stolen base, and a Zobrist RBI single. And since then, it's been pitching, pitching, and more pitching, and some outstanding glove work by Billy Burns. 1-0 offer, strike on the inside corner. It's 0-2. Also, Marcus Semien has had a nice day, although now out of the game. But did a nice job at short, turning a double play, snaring a line drive to his left. Looks like Tyler Clippard will answer the bell in the 9th for the A's. Alberto, DeShields, and Chu will be due. Here's the 1-1 outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. They do have both Joey Gallo and Mitch Moreland, power hitting left-hand batters, available off the bench. One and 2 on Canha. 14,489 here today. Clippard got his first A's win last night in the 5-4 walk-off victory. 2-1 swung on, drilled to deep left field. Canha makes a bid, and he has hit it out. Mark Canha gives the A's some much-needed insurance. A 2-run blast off of John Edwards, his 8th of the year, and it's 3-0 Oakland. Up, over, and out in a hurry for Mark Canha.
And you called it home runs all against right-handers, and that ball was hit so hard, no chance to hook down the line. In the foul territory, a 2-strike great job protecting and unbelievable shot off the bat of Mark Canha.
Pitches around belt high.
Wow.
One of the runs belongs to the lefty Sam Freeman. And now here's Fegley standing in. He takes low and outside, ball one. So for the second straight night, the A's have capitalized against the Rangers bullpen. And Mark Canha this time with the loud blast to left field. 1-0 offer, missing low, 2 balls and no strikes. Bob Melvin earlier this week talking about Canha, who's again begun to produce beginning in Fenway Park. Really felt like it was underplayed how sick he was while still on the active roster. 2-0 offer inside. Power is his game, and he felt like Mark maybe just didn't have the energy, didn't have the life in his body that he showed during spring training to make the club and have the good start that he did. But Mark is healthy again and back end producing. Here's a 3-0. A pitch down and away, a ball 4. So the A's continue to take advantage of the Rangers, and here comes Mike Maddox. He's had a busy day today coming out of the Ranger dugout, and he's going to have a conversation with Edwards with no help in the bullpen. Gives us a chance to take it to the A's minor league report. Brought to you by Scharf Investments. Visit WeLikeValue.com to see how Scharf Investments can help you achieve value in your investment portfolio. Barry Zito continues to have a solid year at AAA Nashville, starting today for them at Oklahoma City. He's 4-4 on the year for the Sounds with a 3.71 ERA. Scott Baker, the former Ranger, is pitching for Oklahoma City, which is the top affiliate of the Dodgers. Midland tonight hosting Corpus Christi, Stockton at Rancho Cucamonga, and Beloit is at Bowling Green. So that's what's happening in the A's minor league system tonight.
And I think A.J. Griffin said he's on his way to Oklahoma City to pitch tomorrow night
on the rehab
for the Nashville Sounds. So good to see him pitching well.
Now Sam full bats, and the first pitch to Sam on the outside corner, strike one. Edward Mujica threw a side session today. Word is he'll go out on the rehab soon, maybe on Monday. He'll throw one more bullpen session. Ike Davis, the A's first baseman, is supposed to go out on Friday as well. A swing and a fly ball down the right field line. Chu can't get to it. It's a fair ball up against the wall. Racing to third base is Fegley. Into second with a doubles fold, and the A's are knocking on the door for more, leading 3-0 as Fold gets his 3rd hit today and his 8th double of the year. Sam Fold's first extra base hit since April 20th. And you give Sam a lot of credit for what has been some really tough times for him. Even with the offense not going the way that he would like, or certainly the way he started. Don't forget how many runs he saved for the A's with his glove, especially in Tampa Bay a couple of road trips ago. Infield has to draw in now for Burns. He's been involved in everything. A walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. 2 singles, a fly ball to center, and 2 outstanding catches in center field. Edwards readies and fires, and he's off the plate outside with ball 1.
Well, we've seen often how a great defensive play can help the offense, and with a catch that Billy Burns made at the top of the inning against the wall in center field, that's going to be extra bases, and who knows what could have happened after that. Instead, makes a fantastic catch, comes back, and the A's have at least added 2 more. And
lead at 3-0 now in the bottom of the 8th. Look at third base, and the righty fires, and the pitch is lifted into left center field. Martinez over's got a very good arm. He'll make the catch. Here comes Fegley. Here comes the throw, and it is not in time. Fegley scores standing up, and it's 4-0 Oakland. A sacrifice fly for Billy Burns, his 9th RBI of the year.
And Fegley crossed the plate and looked at Andy Perino and had his hands up like, was I supposed to stand up or slide? He might have been better suited doing what he did, standing up, because Corporal went down trying to look like to block him off the plate. Instead, he stood up and just barely got around the potential tag.
It wasn't the typical good throw we've seen from Martin. A short hop near the mound as it came toward the plate. And Fegley, who has average speed, still beat the throw. So the A's now lead it 4-0. And Evan Scribner has begun to loosen up in the A's pen as well. Here comes Andy Perino. Switch hitter batting left, and he takes outside ball 1. Andy looking for his first hit of 2015. He's 0 for 5, playing in his 13th game, mostly for defense late.
And Vinny, 3 walks have scored in this game, including the home run. That's the 4 runs. The game led off with a walk with Billy Burns. The first inning, same in this 8th inning. Both scored, and now the walk also to Fegley.
The 1-0 pitch from the right-hander. Swing and a miss on Perino. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Freeman last night failed in the left-on-left matchup and came in today to face Vogt. Wasn't even close. And then Mark Canna, 1 out later, pounded a ball to left field. 4 runs now on 10 hits for the A's, leading it 4-0. To set the pitch, the runner goes to third, and no chance for Corcoran to make a throw. A steal by Fuld. He's over to third base safely on a breaking ball down and in. For Sam, his 5th steal of the year.
Well, they were not paying any attention to him, and there's nothing wrong with that happening. Actually surprising that Adam Rosales went over to cover, really vacating his position when they weren't holding him at second base. There's no reason. Just concede, let him have the stolen base. Corcoran did well by not throwing.
2-1. It's up and away. Ball 3. Left-hander Ross Detweiler loosening in the bullpen for Texas. He began the season as the number 3 man in the Ranger rotation.
Many would say you're at second, you're already in scoring position, why try? But if they're going to give you third base, you can score from there many different ways.
3-1 pitch is high, and Perino will take the walk. Keeps the line moving, and here comes Josh Reddick. Reddick, a left-hand batter. Andy Hawkins, the bullpen coach, asking Detweiler, is he ready to go?
Right fielder.
Hawkins 22. Gave the message to Jeff Bannister that he is ready, and he's going to go matchup here, left on left, facing Josh Reddick. So the A's have gotten the much-needed insurance. 3 runs in the 8th and not done yet. 2 on, 2 out. Detweiler against Reddick when we come back to the Coliseum after this. Four 4-0 A's, bottom of the 8th inning. And Reddick will be coming to the plate to face Detweiler. Detweiler, who made 7 starts for the club. His first relief appearance was against the A's in the opener of the series on Tuesday night. Were 2/3 of an inning, allowed 2 hits and a run in a game which Texas held on and won 2-1. A's won last night, walking off 5-4 and leading from the first inning today. And they've got a 4-0 lead. So here's Reddick, a single, 2 fly balls to left, and a walk. He's got Perino at first and Fuld at third base. What a lift this would be for the Athletics. After sweeping the Tigers, then being swept by the Red Sox and losing the opener of the series. A chance to win the series against Texas. A swing and a liner foul past first base. And that is strike 1.
That's a good point, Vinny, especially the way the Tigers are well, the Tigers have been playing well as also, but the Rangers have really been playing well, coming in and a lot of confidence. And to be able to beat them, that would be nice.
Well, their run began after Sonny Gray beat them on a Sunday in Arlington. Curved way inside, almost hit Josh. He bends back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sonny had that 7-walk, 10 strikeout game on May 3rd, and then since then, the Rangers have gone 23-12. They were 9.5 back of the Astros, and 2 back as play began today. Here's the 1-1. Curveball lifted in the air to deep right. Cheers back to the track at the wall, and it will go. Josh Reddick has hit it out. A 3-run backbreaker, and the A's have exploded for 6 runs in the 8th, and they lead it now 7-0. Reddick's 9th home run of the year. He scores Fold and Perino, and he's got 36 RBIs.
So much for the matchups, lefty on lefty, and that definitely has not helped the Rangers this inning. A breaking ball from Detweiler, a slow curve ball, and Josh Reddick. Finally, somebody gets it up in this beautiful sunny afternoon and takes advantage. I don't know if that needed a lot of help, but Josh Reddick did it.
Now Zobrist stands in, takes low ball 1, so 9 homers and 36 RBIs now for Reddick, and 2 hits today and 5 in the series. To set the pitch. Fastball outside as the A's have batted around, and it is 7-0.
Well, any none bigger than the game that week in your reference when Sonny Gray had that out, and the A's had, what, 7 in the 8th against them?
2-0 pitch, a strike on the outside corner, 2-1.
That was the big game that A's came back, and Laurie hit the ball down the right field line against Neftali Feliz. So Clipper could sit down and get ready to catch a flight.
Swinging a fly ball to right. Over toward the line is Chu. And he will fight the high sky, make the catch. The inning is over, but the damage is done. The A's bat 9. They score 7 as they go deep with Canna and Reddick. And they go to the 9th inning now in command, 7-0. On for the 30th time this year. He's 1-0, a 2.78 ERA. And you know, Ray, here are the A's. They take advantage of the bullpen. They take advantage of some misplays last night by Texas. You're reminded that it's a long season, and it does happen to everybody. I mean, the A's went through that stretch, no longer than they wanted, certainly. But now they're starting to play better baseball. They're starting to take advantage of some of those scenarios. And Texas, at least in this series, have kind of fallen back a little bit in that regard. Their bullpen has let them down in back-to-back games.
That's a great point, and that's why the season being the 162, that things can happen up and down.
And the first pitch on Alberto in for strike one. And Scribner leading the league in appearances, by the way, with number 30 today.
And it is rare that you have an 84 Tiger team that went 35-5 wire to wire.
0-1 curve, a wave and a miss, 0-2.
Reds in 90 went wire to wire. I mean, there's so few and far between that a team starts off great and finishes the World Series championship. And that's why the ups and downs of a season, you never want to get too far down because you have a chance to come back.
Here's the 0-2 from the righty. Swung on, fly ball right center field. And Burns is over from left center into right center. He'll make a one-handed catch. And there is one out. Scott Kazmir today was sensational. And just the way that he paced himself and the velocity increased as the game went on. 8 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts.
26 batters, 18 first pitch strikes. So I mean, he was ahead, and those percentages you talked about, percentage of strikes thrown, getting ahead first pitch strike, and he threw a lot of quality pitches first pitch.
Now Delano DeShields stands in. He takes a strike, and it's 0-1. I know a lot of the focus will be on the Burns catches, the 2 3-run homers in the 8th inning that sure gave the A's that cushion here in the 9th as DeShields swings and fouls one off to the right and falls behind 0-2.
But pitching is what the game is all about. You get outstanding pitching, and Scott Kazmir with a team that is very potent. I mean, they've got a great lineup, and he went right through them, allowing just the 1 hit on the base hit up the middle.
0-2 offer, curve, swung on, dribbled out in front of the plate, picked up by Fegley on the third base side, but ruled a foul ball by Bill Miller. And it stays 0-2, and the A's are trying to play a clean game today and get out of this without a blemish and walk away with another pitching shutout. The A's have 8 on the year, which is the most in the American League, and second in the majors, only to the San Francisco Giants. The set, the 0-2. Fastball hit toward Burns. Billy drifting back, staying with it over his left shoulder, makes the catch, and there are 2 outs. Evan Scribner has come on and done nothing but throw strike after strike. 7 for 7, and here comes Chu, the last chance for the Rangers.
And you know, that's what happened last Sunday. That is rare because Evan Scribner has been really outstanding all season, and that game in which he had in Boston, while some of the balls were not hit that hard, still a couple, 2 or 3 hits to start that horrible 8th inning, but bouncing back the way he has, he's still a very good pitcher.
Chu stands in and takes a comeback fastball over the inside corner, strike 1. He's 0 for 3 today. Scribner trying to close it out for Kazmir. A's in command, 7-0. And the 1-strike offer. Curve pulled to first, caught in foul territory. Mark Canha spears the line drive, and the A's take 2 out of 3 from Texas. 8 sparkling innings from Kazmir, 2 great catches by Burns, and Reddick and Canha go deep, and the Athletics win it today with